Hey, shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Just give it a minute to make sure that this is actually recording. I'm gonna try not to make this too long either. All right, it does appear to be recording correctly, so we'll go ahead and start this lesson. Shalom, this is your brother Ariel from GMS Tampa Bay 12 and GMS 13 Rulership Ba. First and foremost, I do want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to our Lord Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to our elders and apostles at GMS, Great Millstone, who rule and teach well. Salutations to Yakim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity. Salutes and brothers out there that listen as well too. Sisters out there that are listening as well too. And again, it's your brother Ariel from Tampa, again with another live lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, and Lord willing, it's edifying unto the elect of Israel. And as brothers know, the apostles have been going into the topic of Black Swan event, which basically basically goes into an unpredictable event, catastrophic event that you can't predict, that can decimate a nation's economy, structure, and there seems to be no viable way to predict such event. And there's been times in the past where things like that have happened and have destroyed our economies and destroyed structures, and you can't explain it. And apostles have been going in and saying that there will be a major Black Swan event coming in the near future. And brothers know that we've been prophesying these things for many years, and we're going to start seeing signs of these things starting to come to pass now. And as we see history itself will give us indication on what the Lord has planned for this wicked kingdom that we currently live in. The Elder Apostle Gabar went into earlier today or yesterday. I saw the video today where he went into the event that happened in the 50s. I forget the year. I don't have it pulled up on the screen right now, but where there was basically a fleet of what the world calls UFOs, unidentified flying objects, flying by the White House in Washington D.C. And I've seen that video many times in the past, way before even coming into the truth, and I was always in awe when I saw that. Nobody seems to really talk about that. That's not news anymore. That was a major event. Come on now, what the hell was that? And that was, that's something like that really brought fear into the world leaders, especially with that Truman that was in power at the time, brought fear into these men's hearts. How do you fight that? How do you go to war against something like this and not lose? How do you go to war with something like that and hold your own? What do you tell the people? What could you possibly tell the people to calm their hearts, to calm their spirits, letting them know that the government has everything under control. You don't have to worry about that stuff. When that stuff out there clearly is on a higher level of technology than anything that's on here on Earth, whether it be today in 2020, the year of prophecy. You see things like that. There's nothing on this earth that can hold a candle to what the Lord has in store for this earth. And that's right. Those aren't aliens or little green men, as the apostle was saying. Those are the chariots of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, the chariots of God. To put it bluntly. And those aren't aliens. Those are what you would call, I guess you would call interdimensional. Not interplanetary. That's interdimensional. That comes from the spirit realm. And there's nothing on this earth that can war against that. And what I have on the screen here is something else that happened in American history that has to do with what you would call so-called UFOs. So And this event, they dubbed it the Battle of Los Angeles. And brothers may have heard of this. They dubbed this the Battle of Los Angeles. And basically, what this the rough part of this story is, it was, I believe, a few months after America got into World War II. So this was like in 1942. So this is probably just a few months after America joined the fray, so to speak, of World War II. And fresh after the so-called Pearl Harbor, Japanese bombing Pearl Harbor. So that's fresh on everybody's mind. That just happened. And then something else happened. So basically what they say what the official story is basically that they thought that something came up that they're calling it, saying it was a weather balloon. But of course, the Americans believed it was the Japanese that was attacking. Sorry, I'm trying to get this stupid thing off the screen. They thought it was the Japanese attacking. Basically it was a weird aerial device, an aerial phenomenon that was flying across California, and the United States government thought it was something nefarious from our enemies, from our foes, and basically they bombarded it with shells. It was a huge shelling. They bombarded it with missiles and dumped on it basically. You see all that, right? God damn it. Basically what you see on the screen there, these pictures, this is the famous picture where they had put it on the spotlight. Basically they have all the searchlights on it, and that right there in the middle right there is the so-called object that's in question. And lore has it that it wasn't a weather balloon, and it wasn't any Japanese aerial device or anything like that. That this was what the world, what conspiracy theorists, they would call it a UFO. That it was something otherworldly. And whether it is, which I believe it was one of the chariots of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. I believe it was personally, but it don't matter. This is something else that happened in American history where the government got involved. This was a major event that government got involved, and they tried to shoot at this object, and nothing happened to it. And basically the story ends there. I mean, you can look it up. The story goes deeper. It's called the Battle of Los Angeles. That's what they call this event, and it happened in 1942. And you see all the searchlights on the object. The object's right there in the middle, glowing object. And the photo could have been doctored a little bit, or whatever the case is, but nonetheless, big event. The American government tried to shoot at it. This happened in California. The Americans tried to shoot at it and did zero damage to this thing. And it's one of those things that go down in American lore, conspiracy theories, whatever the case is. We don't really know what happened, but this is a precursor to something that's going to happen again in the future, where we're going to see the militaries of this nation and nations across the world try to fight the chariots of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, and it's not going to work. So let's go ahead and get into the scriptures. I've been talking for 10 minutes. Let's get into the scriptures here. So I have the book of Revelation here pulled up, right here in front of me in the book. So this is Revelation chapter 12, and we'll start at verse 7. Revelation 12 and 7. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels. So the war in heaven, Michael and his angels, which are the true angels of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, on the right hand side, okay, these are the angels of the Heavenly Father, fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels and prevailed not. So the dragon and his angels, that's Esau and the other nations, well, really specifically Esau, because Esau is the hammer of the earth right now. So we're going in on Esau. Esau's the dragon. Edomites. He's the serpent. He's the dragon. So they're going to fight against Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's angels. And it says they prevailed not. So in other words, they lost miserably. This is a prophecy. This hasn't happened yet. This is a prophecy that's going to happen. We're talking about World War III. Because World War III is not going to be a war like anything else that we're currently used to. Nation against nation. Yeah, we see that all the time. That's prophesied in the Bible as well too. We're going to see nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Yes, we are going to see it, and we've been seeing that. But this World War III that we're about to head into, this is going to be a war like none other. This is going to be a war against Esau and his angels against Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and his angels. And it says they prevailed not. So I'll read it again. Revelation 12 and 7. Read it on down. It says, and there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven, because Yahweh Bashim Yahushai basically wiped the floor with them. The dragon and his angels, Esau and his angels, his military, in other words, they don't stand a chance against Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and his angels. What they're about to go head to head with is something that the world has never seen. And these little things that happen, you saw the thing that happened, in the 50s that Elder Apostle Gabar brought out with the chariots flying by the White House. This here, the Battle of Los Angeles. This is all child's play. This happened, over a century ago. Over half a century ago, excuse me. Now we're in the time of high technology. Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes of the thing. We're gonna see a real cool battle. You brothers that endure to the end, the Lord's gonna bless your eyes with something real cool battle. But ultimately, it's gonna be a massacre. It's gonna be totally one-sided. But you're gonna see Esau's true might. You're gonna see what Esau's been hiding up his sleeve. And this man does have weapons, but ultimately, it doesn't stand a chance against the Most High and his angels. We're talking about spiritual power, interdimensional power. So it says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So Esau, it says that old serpent back in Genesis, which is called devil. And what's the word devil mean? Devil means deceiver, trickster, whatever you want to call it. And Satan being the adversary. All right, Satan is a spiritual demon himself. He's an angel on the left-hand side of the Heavenly Father. And his physical counterpart on earth is the Edomites. So they're going to be cast out of the earth. All right, and his angels cast out with him. So all his military is going to fall. Let me get something. We're going to get second address too, but let me get Isaiah 34 here. Isaiah 34 from the top. It says, come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them, and hath delivered them to the slaughter. Because there's going to be a humongous war out here, all right, that's going to be fought with fuel of fire. All right, he's gathering all nations together, what, where? In the land of Jehoshaphat, the Middle East. All right, all nations are being gathered over there for their destruction, and it's going to be a nuclear war. So that's another thing that's going to happen in the time of World War III. Not only is there going to be these heavenly battles, but there's also going to be a nuclear warfare. And the Lord's gathering everybody up, all the nations, into that one little spot to get slain. It says the slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall go up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. So all the high governments of the world are going to be destroyed by Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, by the way of these nuclear missiles, and by the way of these chariots. Verse 4, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as a leaf falleth from off the vine, and as a falling fig from a fig tree. Right, because the Lord is going to destroy the host of heaven. He's going to destroy Esau and all these nations' armies. All right, all the nations' armies are going to be destroyed. Not one of them is going to survive World War III. So no nation other than the nation of Israel is going to prevail, and the nation of Israel doesn't have a standing army. When I talk about the nation of Israel, we're not talking about the Israelis. We're talking about the Israelites. The Israelites do not have a standing army on this earth, actual military. The Israelites they have the prophets, and the prophets bring out the truth, and they wake up the elect with the word. People are being washed by the word, the cleansing of the word. All right, everything else we're gonna let the Lord handle all that, and we're gonna let these nations destroy each other. So let's go into the book of Second Esdras. Second Esdras 13. I don't know where to start though. Let's see. I want to read the whole chapter. Let's start at verse 4. I can really start from the top. We'll start at verse 4. It says, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they start up. Second Esdras 13:1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the ways thereof, and I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burnt that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. So this being we're talking about here is going into Yahweh Shai, to come into Yahweh Shai, because he's coming with a host of a holy host with an army. All right, and it says, when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him, and whensoever his voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when they feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. So men came to subdue this man. They came from all four corners of the earth to subdue this man. Keep listening. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not, because this is basically what he's saying. It wasn't an actual mountain. All right, this was an actual craft. All right, how would you put it? A ship, a spaceship. I don't know what you want to call it, a vehicle. But this thing was so humongous that you couldn't see where it began or where it ended. All right, the only thing you could liken it onto is a mountain. It's a crazy sight. You picture that the UFO in Independence Day, the first Independence Day, even the second Independence Day. You remember how massive those things were? And picture something like that, but iller, even iller than that. Verse 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet there's fight. So all these men, and these men that he's talking about that came from the four winds of the earth to subdue him, to subdue Yahweh Shai, it said they were sore afraid, but yet they still fought. So the Lord's put the spirit on them to still fight. You see something like the going back into Independence Day. You see something like that, You don't want nothing to do with that. That's a terrifying sight. What damage could you possibly do to that? But all the nations are going to come together to fight against this thing. They're going to try to fight against Yahweh Shai. And they're preparing right now to fight against Yahweh Shai. And it's all in vain. Well, it's not in vain because you know what? It's going to definitely play for a good show for us. Lord willing, the Lord sees us fit to behold such a wonder. We're going to see something crazy, brothers. If the Lord wills it, we're going to see something ridiculously crazy. Esau's going to fight against Yahweh Shai and his angels. Esau, mighty Esau. We're going to see him go all out. All the secret weapons that he has stored up, he's going to bring them all out to fight against our Lord. And the Lord is not going to hold back. The Lord is going to destroy. So the scripture says again in 2 Ezra 13, where verse was on 8. It says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, as they should be." You see something like the Lord's chariots. What emotion should you have but fear? And yet, there's fight. They still try to fight. Was it out of pride? Was it out of confidence? Was it out of fear of dying, fight or flight? Possibly. But the Lord is going to put the spirit on these men of all these different nations to stop fighting each other and try to fight against this common foe, which is Yahweh Shai and the band of angels that come with him. And they're going to lose. Verse 9. "And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests." So when they try to come up against Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he doesn't have to lift up a sword. He doesn't have to lift a finger. Because as soon as they try to come against him, they're going to be blasted out of the air by laser beams. They're going to be blasted out of the air by tempests. Fiery tempests from the Lord's chariots. Nothing that you can do, no training that you have endured on this earth is going to prepare you for the fight against Yahweh Shem Yahushai and his angels. You're going to lose. The Lord doesn't have to lift a finger. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one, so that upon a sudden of the innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. And when I saw this, I was afraid. Esdras was afraid when he saw this vision, because this is such a powerful image. Goodness gracious. This is going to happen in our lifetime, brothers. It says nothing was left. There was nothing to be perceived but dust and smell of smoke. After the Lord is done with these people, the only thing that's left to be perceived is dust and smell of smoke. He's going to destroy these people. There's another verse in here. Let me try to find it. And we'll end with it. 28, I think it is. 31. I will start at, let's see. Alright, we'll start at verse 27. So we're going to skip down to 2 Ezra 13 and 27. Read on down a little bit. "And whereas thou sawest that out of his mouth there came a blast of wind, and fire and storm, and that he held neither sword or any instrument of war, but that the rushing in of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him. This was the interpretation. So he saw the Lord just completely obliterate the opposition. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. Who's he going to deliver that are upon the earth? He's not talking about everybody. Oh, you're a good person? Oh, no. He's talking about the elect, the first fruits. And, the 144,000, the ones of the 144,000 that are still upon this earth will be delivered. And not only them, but also those of the 1/3. All right, because 1/3 of the nation of Israel is going to be saved, while 2/3 of the nation of Israel is going to be destroyed. They're going to be killed. But 1/3 is going to be saved. So the Lord is coming for them. It says, behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. So there's going to be people delivered out of the coming destruction. And he shall come, verse 30, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. Just like when you read in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5, when people see the deliverance of the Israelites, it's going to be an astonishment. It's going to be it's going to be a sight to behold. It says, or is that verse 30? Verse 30 again. And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell upon the earth, and one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another. We're seeing that. One place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. Realm against realm. The physical realm versus the spiritual realm. We're gonna see who really got the power. And we already know who does, and we're just anxious to see the throwdown. And Lord willing, the Lord, puts the spirit on his men to help with that in that day. But right now, what we have our job is to what? Our job is to preach, bring this word out, and help wake up the elect. That's our job. But it's gonna be realm against realm. It's gonna be Esau's realm, this physical realm here, down here, where we're at right now, which we dwell in, against the spiritual realm. And that I cannot describe for you. We'll all see soon, though. So with that, I do want to give all praise, honor, and glory to our Lord Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha Kwadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of GMS, Great Millstone, who rule and teach well. Salutations to you brothers pushing this word. Salutations to you brothers listening. Shalom to you sisters listening. And Lord willing, we all get to see the big throwdown. The big throwdown of Jacob. I should say Michael and his angels versus the dragon and his angels. So with that, I say shalom to your elect. Peace.